What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the top 10 best places to visit in the UK. Now, I'm very excited for this topic because, honestly, like many Americans, such as myself, when we think about the UK and cool places to visit there, we always think of the same couple of places, like the same few cities that we know of, like London and like Manchester or Birmingham. And that's it. It's like nothing else exists. We don't know anything else. And those places are amazing. Don't get me wrong. But I also know there must be so much more amazing places all throughout the UK that I have no idea about, that I've never even heard of, and that is what I want to highlight today. That is what I want to learn about today. So, let's take a look. Top 10 places to visit in the UK.
All right, so for our first location, we're going to go visit possibly the most iconic city in the world, London.
Oh, no! No! Okay, you know what? I'm okay with this. I was saying London, no offense to London, it's awesome, but it's almost too awesome. It's always what Americans say they want to visit. If Americans are like, I'm going to the UK, it's almost like they're saying, I'm going to London. This is for good reason. London is incredible. It's gigantic. It's a world mecca. And it's so famous that it's like the only place all Americans know of in the UK. So I'm not surprised it's number one on the list, but I know there's going to be a lot more other things here that are not so obvious. But this deserves number one. This deserves to be on the list, of course.
I've traveled more to London than any other international destination. I have to say it's my favorite city in the world, and I just keep coming back. Everything from the double-decker buses to the energy of Piccadilly Circus.
Oh my god, it certainly has an amazing charm. Just the aesthetic of like the architecture of the buildings is nothing like what you can find in the United States. You can't find this. But also it has a sort of modern twist to it, and the double-decker buses, and there's just so much London-ness going on.
It makes the city feel so alive. There's just so many places to see.
Big Ben.
You can check out the iconic Big Ben and walk across the bridge to see the Palace of Westminster. There's the Tower Bridge, which is...
So, the more that he talks about London in this video, the more I'm sold on this is obviously a top 10 place to visit in the UK. It just is.
Possibly the most famous bridge in all of London. You can go see the Stoic Guards at Buckingham Palace or take a ride on the London Eye. If you haven't already been to London...
Seeing London at nighttime is amazing as well. It totally shifts the atmosphere from like old-timey, historical, amazing city to like modern, lights everywhere, Ferris wheel.
I'd highly recommend visiting when you can. It's hard to beat the London atmosphere. There's no city like it in the world. All right, so after exploring London, we're going to make the 2-hour drive over to Stonehenge.
Oh, Stonehenge. Did he say 2 hours? Stonehenge is funny because Americans, we've all heard of Stonehenge in history class, but I actually didn't remember. I didn't remember. It's in the UK, and apparently 2 hours from London. Well, I guess in the UK, like especially in like England or Britain, everything is a lot closer together than here in the United States. If something is 2 hours away here in the US, that's a miracle. Because things in the United States, different stuff can be 20 hours away, no problem. So anyway, Stonehenge is in the UK. That's I feel like I should have known that.
Located in Wiltshire, England, lies one of the most famous man-made rock structures in the world. There's a lot of mystery surrounding Stonehenge, like what was its purpose and how was it made. Archaeologists believe it was constructed back between 3000 to 2000 BC. Stonehenge...
This really is, I'm glad this is on the list. This is absolutely... If I had remembered this was in the UK, I would have been like, yeah, that deserves to be in a top 10 of what is the best, coolest stuff to visit. Because this is just like a wonder, a world wonder, a marvel of humanity. How'd they get these stones here? How'd they weigh so much? How'd they get there? How'd they stack them like that? It's just cool.
consists of a ring of rocks, each being around 13 feet high and weighing nearly 25 tons each.
Yeah.
It's unclear what the exact purpose of Stonehenge was. It's believed that it was used as an astronomical observatory or a religious site. Either way, it sure makes you stop and think how people thousands of years ago were able to construct this.
Yes, it's just iconic. I bet there are so many people that go to Stonehenge, if not just for like 10 minutes, to get a picture with it. I bet this is like one of the most like Instagrammed things ever if you're at Stonehenge, especially if you're a tourist or an American, for sure.
All right, so after Stonehenge, we're gonna head on over to the Jurassic Coast.
What is this? Now we're getting into it. Now we're talking. What is the Jurassic Coast? Are there dinosaurs? Is this Jurassic Park? This is just looking at this one picture. It's like a cliff, a pale cliff. Where is this?
While you won't find any dinosaurs here, you might find some fossils on the beach. The Jurassic Coast is England's only natural World Heritage Site. And
this is in England. It is like a cliff with a lighthouse. I had no idea that England had like natural geography like this. What on earth? Where is this?
It's become popular with its white cliffs and picturesque beaches that are full of fossils formed over 65 million years ago. One of the most famous spots on the Jurassic Coast is Durdle Door.
Durdle Door. This is so cool. This is exactly what I was hoping from this video. Gems like this that I'm assuming people in the UK know about this, but Americans like never hear about this. What is this? This part of the UK?
It's this limestone arch that goes straight into the ocean. There's a great beach there, and I just can't think of a better place to spend during the hot English summers. One of my favorite spots on the Jurassic.
This is like, oh my gosh. This is such a weird thing to look at as well. It looks like something out of a fantasy movie, Lord of the Rings or something.
Coast is Old Harry's Rocks.
Okay.
Now, special thanks to my friend David Rule for providing this footage. He has an awesome Instagram and YouTube that I'll provide in the description below. I remember the first time I saw his picture of this place, and I was just...
Wow. Is anyone allowed to just go out here, travel out to this, and just like admire it and walk around? Is it like open to the public, I assume? There's not much you could like damage with a giant cliff, I guess, so I guess it's fine.
Just baffled by the scenery there. The Old Harry Rocks are these sea stacks that are made completely out of chalk that mark the end of the Jurassic Coast. In World War II, the stacks were used as target practice for pilots, so that's kind of crazy.
Really?
I just love the...
That'd be awesome if you could get a boat. That's how you get like, because you're either in a helicopter or right now a drone looking down on it. Or I think the best view would be like driving around in a boat. That'd be awesome.
Combination of the green meadows with the white cliffs and the blue ocean. I mean, it's just hard to beat that scenery. All right, so after the Jurassic Coast, we're gonna head up north to visit the country of Wales. Now, Wales is located in the southwest part of Great Britain.
Yeah, it's actually, most Americans do not know where Wales is. Many Americans don't know that Wales is part of the UK, to be perfectly honest. So I'm glad there's a part of this video highlighting Wales. I don't know anything in Wales.
It's famous for its mountainous national parks, picturesque coastline, and distinct Welsh language.
Wow.
One of the most scenic places in Wales is the Snowdonia National Park. It's a region in northwest Wales that is known for its mountains and lakes.
Oh, can you see some of these little ponies while you're there?
Snowdonia National Park. It's a region.
Snowdonia. Can you see these horses or ponies in a national park? It's gigantic.
Region in northwest Wales that is known for its mountains and lakes. The highest peak in Wales, Mount Snowdon, is located in the park with an elevation of 10,085 meters.
This is just not stuff that me, or I can safely say Americans, we just don't picture this kind of landscape and these natural wonders of geography in the UK. I feel like it's so underappreciated, just the landscape and some of the cool stuff you can go see. It's amazing.
You can hike on up there, or you can take the Snowdon Mountain Railway to the top. If you're lucky, you might be able to see Ireland across the sea. Alright, so after Wales, we're going to head to the Isle of Man. Now,
Isle of Man. I've heard of the Isle of Man. I've never learned about it.
Located in the Irish Sea, right between England and Ireland.
Really? There's an island between England and Ireland. I legitimately did not know that. I've heard the name Isle of Man, but that is where it ends. Now I finally know.
Lies a rugged island known for its rural landscapes and medieval castles.
Whoa.
While it's technically not part of the United Kingdom, it has status of crown dependency, and the UK is...
It's not part of the UK. What? Wait, what? Kind of weird technical definition is this?
Responsible for its defense and external relations. The Isle of Man has had an interesting history. Humans have lived on it since 6500 BC, and in the 19th century it was ruled by Norway. But in 1266...
What? By Norway? It's got some pretty awesome castles and walls and just old, like, historical architecture and stuff around. Man, this island is big, man. It is big.
The island became part of Scotland, and now it is a self-governing isle. An interesting place on the Isle of Man is Peel Castle. It was constructed by Vikings in the 11th century. And
no way. It was literally a castle made by Vikings that you can visit when you're in the UK. This is fantastic. This video is great. I knew this castle was something special. Now I know. What is the name of it again?
The Isle of Man is Peel Castle.
Peel Castle. Okay.
It was constructed by Vikings in the 11th century and just sits right on the ocean. It's a pretty cool castle if you ask me. All right, so...
Can you just go visit this stuff? Like, I swear, in America, you have to ask that question because everything is so corporatized. You have to buy tickets, make reservations, and Americans will just, like, go to places like this. If no one is watching, they'll like try to break off a brick from the castle and take it home, and we can't have nice things. So that's why I'm always like, can you just go visit this? That's amazing.
After the Isle of Man, we're gonna head across the sea to visit Northern Ireland.
Nice.
Now, Ireland is full of just beautiful scenery, dramatic coastal cliffs, and countless castles.
Unbelievable. This is... I know this is another country, but it might as well be another planet compared to the US. You never see stuff like this.
In 1921, Ireland was split into Northern and Southern Ireland as a result of the Government of Ireland Act of 1920. While Southern Ireland became a free Irish state, Northern Ireland remained within the United Kingdom.
Wow.
The capital of Northern Ireland is the city of Belfast, which is the birthplace of the Titanic ship. One of the most iconic places in Northern Ireland is the Dark Hedges.
Whoa, the Dark Hedges. Great name. Is it these trees, or are we going towards the Dark Hedges?
It's road lined with beech trees planted in the 18th century. It was used...
It is these trees. And I don't mind because these trees are actually awesome. This looks like a background that you'd have for your phone or your computer. This picture right here, that's awesome.
As a filming location for the Game of Thrones. On the northern coast, you can check out the Carrick already.
It was a filming location for Game of Thrones. That makes so much sense. Because all of this seems like out of a fantasy novel or something.
Rope Bridge, or see the basalt columns at the Giant's Causeway.
What is this? Giant's Causeway? What? It's like super geometric rocks. How does that happen?
I mean, there's just so much history and beauty in Ireland, and it just makes me want to go there and explore.
Yeah.
All right, so for our next location, we're going to head to Scotland to visit the Isle of Skye.
Isle of Skye, that's another thing. Stuff in the UK just has cooler names, like straight up, much cooler names than in the United States. Isle of Skye? What is that? I'm just looking at this picture now. There's a guy standing at the top of that rock. Is that the Isle of Skye?
This is probably my all-time favorite place in the UK. You literally feel like you're in a fairy tale when you visit there.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to go to the Isle of Skye last summer, and it's about a 5-hour drive from Edinburgh. One of the most impressive places in the Isle of Skye is the Old Man of Storr.
Old Man of Storr. This, I was joking before, but this really does look like another planet. Like this is Mars or something.
One of my all-time favorite rock formations. I felt like I was on the set of Game of Thrones when I was there. Now, to get to the Old Man of Storr, it's about a 4-kilometer hike. You walk...
Oh, you have to hike to it. Okay, I was like, I don't know. And for Americans, this might be tough. Can I just, like, take a bus, take my car there or something? No, that'd be a cool experience. Like, having to get out and hike. And just walking through this landscape. That is the experience. Doing that and seeing all this and feeling it. This is so cool.
On the set of Game of Thrones when I was there. Now, to get to the Old Manastor, it's about a 4-kilometer hike. You walk through some conservation gates and you'll reach the famous rock pinnacles.
Wow.
I went for sunrise and sunset, and
Oh my god. This just looks crazy.
both occasions were breathtaking. When I was there was just like crows flying around the rock, and there were some sheep running around. I mean, it was just a magical place. So the legend of the old...
It seems like there's not a lot of tourists as well. Like maybe he was shooting this on a lucky day, but there's not even a lot of people, a lot of pesky American tourists or anything, like kind of taking up all the space and ruining it. It's like just totally empty. You and the open planet.
Old Manastor is supposedly a giant lived there a long time ago, and when he was buried, his thumb was left sticking out of the ground. When you go there, it's easy to see why it's one of the world's most iconic rock formations.
Yeah.
It's one of my all-time favorite places, and I recommend...
If you had told me, like, oh, go to the UK, you can visit some rocks, I would have been skeptical. I'd be like, have fun with that. Yeah, it's like, no. When you actually see these rocks, these aren't just rocks. This is like amazing. This like puts the world in perspective for you. These are super cool.
And everyone to see at least once in their life. Just a few minutes away from the Old Manastor, there's a breathtaking waterfall called Meeout Falls.
Whoa, Meeout Falls. What on earth is going on? There is nothing like this in America. It couldn't be more different, this landscape. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's beautiful.
That cascades down to the ocean. There's a nice viewpoint where you can look at the waterfall. The surrounding sea cliffs in the area.
See, I don't mind that they they modernized this. They corporatized this a little bit. They put a road, a parking lot. Thank you. That is it's tough to get to those other rock formations, but that's part of it. And then you need some stuff like this where you can just pull up in your car and admire the waterfall. And I would. Wow.
Yeah, also stunning. One of the most famous is Kilt Rock, which are right by Meeout Falls. I mean, it's just such a cool area.
Wow.
There aren't many waterfalls that fall straight into the ocean.
Everything is just so gigantic. That's a whole other thing. Like, I'm just not around stuff that makes you feel so small. It's weird. It's surreal. Everything's just so big.
If you're looking to find some fairies, you may want to check out the fairy pools. There are these picturesque blue pools that lie at the base of the Black Colons. When I was there were so many midges. I didn't dare get close to water, so make sure you bring some...
Whoa, fairy pools?
Bug spray. If you want to do a...
Oh, there's bugs. This is internet versus reality. This picture is like, oh, it's so beautiful. I'm going to jump in the fairy pools. And when you get there, it's like swarming with bugs. Sometimes that's just the way it is.
Bug spray. If you want to do a beautiful hike, I'd also recommend visiting the Korang. It's one of the most beautiful areas in the Isle of Skye. You feel like you're walking on a giant golf course. I found this...
Oh my gosh, if you're lucky enough to live in the UK, there is endless hiking and outdoorsing to take part in. This looks enormous. Like you could just spend your whole life visiting all these different amazing places to hike and explore.
Crazy vantage point to get a good 360 view of the whole area. All right, so after the Isle of Skye, we're going to head over to the nearby Eilean Donan Castle.
Oh.
If you're driving to the Isle of Skye, you will drive right by this.
Oh, this is great as well. Another thing that does not exist in America, castles. That is just something like, I don't know if people in the UK take it for granted that there's all these awesome castles from way back in history. But these really stick out to me and Americans because we don't have stuff like this just around.
Eilean Donan Castle. If you're driving to the Isle of Skye, you will drive right by this. It's one of my favorite castles in the UK.
Oh.
Situated on a small tidal island.
Oh, whoa. I keep saying it. It looks fake. It doesn't look real, but it's real.
At the point where the three great sea locks meet. The castle was built in the 13th century. I'm so mad at myself. I didn't visit the castle when I was there.
Can you visit this castle? There I go again. Are you allowed to just like drive up here and visit the castle? Is that just cool?
I wasn't able to check it out. That's one of my biggest regrets of when I visited the UK, so don't make the same mistake I made. All right, so after castle, we're gonna head over to one of Scotland's most iconic locations, the Glenfinnan Viaduct.
Oh, I think I know this one. This is the Hogwarts Express. This is the Harry Potter train. I think I've heard of this one.
We're going to head over to one of Scotland's most iconic locations.
Scotland.
The Glenfinnan Viaduct.
Yes.
It's located at the top of Loch Shiel in the West Highlands of Scotland. It was completed around 1898.
1898. That's amazing. Man, humans are amazing. Over 100 years ago, almost 150 years ago, it's coming up on it. Building stuff like this, that's unbelievable, actually.
It may look familiar because it was featured in the Harry Potter films. When I was there, I wanted to get close to the bridge, so I walked underneath it. I was just shook by how big it actually was.
Oh, you can actually go under it. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. There's a difference, like a cool difference. There's stuff that's just the natural part of the earth that you can visit in the UK. And then there's all this man-made stuff, castles and this aqueduct or bridge that also just makes you feel small and kind of marvel at what humans can do.
After I hiked to the top to get a good vantage point so I could see the famous train go across the viaduct. This really reminds you of those Harry Potter movies.
Oh, the train is like working. It's like our live, I don't know why I thought it wasn't. You can wait around and see the train. That's awesome. That's great.
All right, so after Glenfinnan, we're going to head over to Edinburgh. Now, if you want to go back in time...
Edinburgh. Not Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Excuse me. This is at the beginning when I was naming cities Americans have heard of. This is another, although a lot of Americans probably think of London the most as being synonymous with the UK. Edinburgh is a city that we know the name, but not much more than that. So it's still cool to highlight it on this list.
Edinburgh is a must. It's where J.K. Rowling wrote her Harry Potter novels. When I started traveling, this was one of the first cities I visited. It's a medieval old town with intricate
Oh, it's medieval. My God. Oh, it's medieval style. That's great.
Classical buildings, cobblestone streets, and beautiful gardens. The iconic Edinburgh Castle overlooks the city and is home to Scotland's crown jewels. When I was there, I didn't go into the castle because I was being too cheap, but one of my favorite...
So you do have to pay to get into that castle. That's funny.
...places was Calton Hill. It offers a beautiful view of the whole entire city. While we're still in Edinburgh, we're going to head over to Arthur's Seat. Now, Arthur's Seat is located in...
What is this? Arthur's Seat? Is that the name of is this another city?
Holyrood Park, and it's a short walk from Edinburgh Centre. Arthur's Seat.
No, it's a place that you can look back on Edinburgh and get a good view, maybe?
Is an extinct volcano with an elevation of 823 feet. When I was there, I wanted to get as high as I could so I could see all of Edinburgh. I made a hike up and I reached...
It's a volcano? It's an inactive volcano. Did I hear that correctly?
To the top. It was just so windy when I was there. Nearly blew me over. After I hiked to the top, I had a good time just hiking around Holyrood Park and enjoying the views of one of UK's most iconic cities.
That is so freaking cool. Like, oh my gosh. Let me roll this back a little. This is what I'm talking about. Like, there are cities in America that are cool, but they don't have, like, Arthur's Seat. They don't have cliffs and mountain ranges surrounding them. This is just amazing.
All right, well, that is it for my United Kingdom Top 10. The UK is just such a unique region in the world, and I hope all can witness its beauty and history.
It is unique. It is very unique. I didn't even appreciate how unique it was till now. This is great. That was by Ryan Shirley, and I got to give that video a like. That was so cool. That was so fun. I knew it. So many places in the UK, and I'm sure so many more, that I have no idea exist, and they're mind-blowing, I tell you. Particularly to Americans, I think, because we just don't have stuff that looks like this. So it is so cool to be able to at least go on the internet and check out stuff like this, and I don't know. This was so fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with what you think deserve to be in the top 10 of the best places to visit in the UK. If you agreed with this list, or are there other things you would have added to this list, and if you're interested in more videos like this as well, me reacting to the UK and UK culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.